So everyone's been asking for it, but here is a step-by-step process on how to register your songs with SoundExchange for the first time. This is SoundExchange website. For those that don't know, SoundExchange is basically a royalty payment system for anyone that has their music and master recordings performed on terrestrial radio as well as internet radios. A lot of comedians are paid through this way, a lot of artists that get a lot of radio play, think like Pandora, SiriusXM. All those are revenue sources for SoundExchange that will get collected and sent to you. We're gonna go step by step, so I'm gonna be going a little bit slower for this tutorial, but it's a great way to follow along and making sure you can get your stuff registered for the first time. First thing you want to do is just make sure you have an account registered with them. I actually have an account already, so we're going to log into XS Direct. So this is the front homepage of your account. So you can see I have my registration information here, the status, the last payments, which was $11. So making a lot of money here. My last statement date was December 2023, and all that information is there. So next we're going to go to my registrants and then registrant information. This is where you would then register yourself as your profile. So for example, you would put your name, you would put your account information. I'm not going to click on that because they do ask for your social security number or your employment identification number, your EIN. So just make sure you have all the information sent in. And once you're done and sent with that, you can click on My Catalog and submit recordings. So you're going to be pulled up to this My Catalog section. There are two ways to fill this out. If you're registering your stuff for the first time, one, and two, you don't have a lot of music, I would recommend you just do one song at a time. If, for example, you have a ton of songs, you can use the bulk option. It does take a little bit of time to set up, but once you do it, it's a life changer. For anyone wondering too, I have a bulk template on my website. It's all linked. You can check it out. I'll probably put a tag somewhere on the screen. I have it linked with a Google Sheets. So rather than having to basically fill out all of your information for your songs, it'll auto-populate the information for you. So the way it works is you type in all your release information first, and then you go to a separate tab, which is basically the SoundExchange bulk import chart, but it's all mapped based on formulas. So rather than having to type and copy and paste everything again, it's all done for you. So it saves you a little bit of time. You can check that out. It's like $5-10 I think on my website. Worth it if you have a lot of songs. But anyways, we're gonna dive in. All you gotta do is go to the bottom right here and add recording. We're gonna click that right now. This is where the fun part comes in. There is a lot of information that they do need, unfortunately. All you gotta do is start filling it out. So we're gonna do the ISRC recording information. Artist, for example, we're just gonna use one of my side projects called a Club Yokai. Next, the song is gonna be My Best Song. This is just gonna be the song title, whatever you have. The ISRC number is from your distributor, DistroKid, TuneCore. They're all going to give you this number whenever you release a song with them. It's the number that Spotify uses to track how many streams your song has. It's also used to make sure that when your song is played on Spotify that you're getting paid that money. Think of it like a driver's license for your specific song. We're going to leave that blank for now, but if you were to fill it in, it's all going to be available from your distributor. Just going to put in a random number right here. Next is going to be the version. You don't have to fill this in. You just leave it blank. Anything with an asterisk you have to fill out. So obviously the artist name, the song title, the ISRC. Duration, we're just going to put, it's 2 minutes and 10 seconds, right? You don't have to fill a lot of this information out, but it's worth doing it just to make sure that your entries are as complete as possible. Next, the genre, we're just going to put hip hop. We're going to do release date. This is one of the more important ones. You're going to put, 01. We'll just say we put it on January 1st, 2022. They don't allow you to just put in single digits for the dates. They do ask for 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the date, and then 4 digits for the year. So do keep that in mind for your spreadsheet that it may take a little bit longer because you're adding in an extra 0 for that beginning section. This is just a recording date too. I personally just put the recording date as the exact same one as the first release, just because I don't really remember when I record the songs. I just want to make sure that everything is in one spot and more consistent. So release date and recording date can be the exact same. Country of mastering, this really pertains to, where was the song mastered. If you're doing everything by yourself, you're going to put whatever state or whatever country you're in. If you're in the US, just put US because that's the only option. Next from there, the country of recording. Say, for example, you went to Korea to record this for some reason. You would put South Korea and you're good to go. Like I mentioned before, a lot of this information is a little bit redundant and you don't really need to fill it in. But if you have time and you want to make sure your entries are complete, I would recommend you do it. Next, you're going to be putting in your publisher information. My publishing account is AZUMA Publishing, so we're just going to put that in. If you have multiple publishers on this song, for example, if it's like My Best Publishing or Secret Publishing, for example, if there was 3 different people on this song, we would put all their publishing information right there just to make sure it's in one spot. P-line, I don't really fully remember what it's for, but you don't need to put it in, so I leave it blank. The ISWC is your code given to you by your PRO. After you register a song with ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, whatever PRO you're with, it does take about a couple months to get this code in, but once you have it, it is available and you can put that in. It's not necessary for the registration, but if you do want to come back, you can edit that information later on. So always worth going back in and checking that in. Finally, the composer section is any writer, any producer's name that is on this song. For example, I'll put Michael AZUMA, and then you can put in another name like Luke, Jake, or John Smith. You know, you would put all the composers there, be good to go. Composers are anyone that are production, anyone that is doing any songwriting, anyone that would be involved on the creative side of writing the melody, lyrics, or actual, you know, song production. Countries of first release, 99% of the time it's going to be worldwide if you're releasing stuff with your distributor. Most people aren't limiting which countries are putting out their music, so I would just put worldwide for this. Copyright owner, country of nationality. This is really like who owns the song when it comes down to it. Most of the time for any US artist, it's going to be United States. For example, if you're somewhere else, Albania, for example, you would put Albania. It really depends on where you're based. Like I mentioned before though, it is not really necessary. So if you want to leave it blank and you're unsure, just leave it blank. You don't have to fill that information out. Next is the recording claim information. This is probably the most important tab, and to ensure that you're getting paid the right amount for that song. The basis of claim is going to be either the authorized collection designee or the copyright owner. Most artists, you are going to be the copyright owner, just because it's like, hey, I wrote this song, I released it, I own this percentage of it. If, for example, you are an authorized collection designee, and a couple examples of people that would fit this category would be music managers, like, hey, I manage, Justin Bieber, right? And I am going to be taking a percentage of his recording, say that's like 10%, right? Or if you are, some people have investors for the songwriting career. This is when you would also type that in as well, where it's like, hey, I'm an investor for this guy's music. He owns me, I own 20% of his catalog or whatever, just to claim your half of the pie. Only pertaining to your take home of the share too. For example, if I have a song and I own 40% of it, I would be putting 40% and then I would be good to go. This only pertains to your percentage. You're not going to be adding in anyone else. This is just for your claim. So we're just going to put 40% for now. The rights beginning, you can put inception, meaning that when the song was made. If we scroll back up to January 1st, 2023, that means that from that date and onward, I am making and keeping that money. This is when you would enter in the rights end. Rights end basically means like, okay, you're claiming money, you're putting brackets on when you're claiming your income from. So this really only pertains to publishing deals. For example, publishers will claim income for music by you for a certain duration. So if I claimed and signed a publishing deal, January 1st, 2023, and the deal ends January 1st, 2026, that's when I would put that information in and then it'll be done. After that, the claim is released and then I would get that, percentage would then be able to get claimed by myself when I go back in to register again once I'm out of that publishing deal. You can also put a perpetuity. I would put that if you're an independent artist, you're never probably going to be signing off this right unless you do sign some sort of deal. Just to keep it simple, inception, perpetuity when you're clicking this in. Territories of collection, I would just put worldwide because for the most part, you're collecting from different agencies. The only time this would be different is if you had some sort of sub-publishing agreement. It gets a little bit wonky if you have like a admin deal or a distribution deal with a different label or company. This is when it would be more, the terms will be a little bit different. For example, there's some companies that do distribution via Melon. Melon is like a music streaming platform in Korea. They would be only claiming on the Korean side. So you'd go down South Korea right here. That's always an option, but not really something you should be worried about. Just put worldwide and you're good to go. Next is going to be releases. So this is the second most important thing you have to put in. This is just like, okay, like who put out the song? So we're pretty much copying, pasting the exact same information from above, but now we're confirming that it's actually released in is an actual song. So I'm going to put the same thing, Club Yokai. Album name. If, for example, the album doesn't have a name, this could be, it's a single or it's just like one track, you can put single. I would personally just put the track title. So my best song, just to keep it more consistent. UPC is going to be given to you by your distributor. Think of this as like a barcode when you're scanning groceries at the store. This is just to confirm that, hey, this is that song. And whenever there is a sale associated with it, that you're going to get paid for it. That number is going to get given to you by your distributor. I'm just going to be typing in a random number here because we're just trying to fill out this for the first time. Next, release label. This is going to be you. So you could put your name or you could just put artist name again. Doesn't really matter. Catalog number, that's not important. Release date is just the exact same thing. So I personally would just go back up here and copy and paste it just to save me some time. Version, if you wanted to do sped up, slow down, if you have any different versions of the song, you can put that here. And then finally, the country of release, and this would be worldwide. Another section you would update for the version would be if it's a radio edit, if it's a clean version, if it's an instrumental, all that would go into this version section. You would then need to add another release though, if you have multiple versions. So keep in mind that every time you put out a song, if it's not on the same project, it's going to have a different UPC number. Making sure that you have that adjusted is going to be important for you. Always double check that. I personally will just do another registration when I put out another version of the song because it's a little bit faster, because usually the ISRC is a different number anyways. So next we're going to go up to the top and review. And this is our first song. We have entry right here and we can submit the recordings right down there. If you want to register another song, we can just go click add recording and now we can edit this information. You can see recording title 2 and repeat and do the exact same thing again. You can probably tell that this does take a little bit longer than registering a song with like ASCAP or Songtrust or with the MLC. And that is just because they need more information for SoundExchange because they want to make sure that your payments are getting processed correctly. Do keep in mind that it does take a little bit longer to register your music like this. If, for example, you don't want to go through the hassle of doing all this information and claiming it, another option, we're going to go to it right now, is going to My Catalog and search and claim. This is another option you can do. This is basically saying like, hey, I'm a rights owner and I want to claim music that is owned to me. You can claim as either an artist or as a rights owner. Most of the time, if you're an independent artist, you're going to be claiming as an artist. If you're a rights owner, for example, if you're a manager or a producer and you own some sort of percentage of that song, you would be a rights owner. Songwriters and producers are going to be the rights owners and the artist is going to be the actual artist that performed the song. For example, if Justin Bieber put out your song and there are two producers and a writer, Justin Bieber is going to be claimed as the artist and then the two producers and the writer are going to be claimed as the rights owners. So it's important to justify that difference because they do require you to submit a letter of direction by the artist in order to ensure that your payments can get processed. This whole system, I'm just going to go on a kind of a tangent, is definitely a little bit archaic and I don't really believe that's a great way to process payments, solely because there's some artists out there that you have probably worked with that don't have their shit together, and because of that you're getting a delay in payments and you're not going to be able to register with SoundExchange. For example, I've worked with artists in the past that don't even know what SoundExchange is, and until they, one, make an account and two, register the songs correctly, there is no way for you to register and get your music and get your royalties for that music that you worked on. So if you know an artist like that, just send them this video and tell them to register your music because they're losing out on money. When it comes down to it, they're losing out on money, and two, you are also losing out on money. So it's your pennies, it's your dollars. Understand where it's coming from and making sure that you're registering it is important. We're going to claim as an artist just to make it simple. We're going to click claim right here. And then finally, this is going to be the, my name. You're going to do the SXID, which is just your SoundExchange number, the type performer, and then the stats active. So now we're going to click on search recordings. We're looking for recordings based on that specific artist claim. For example, if we type in my best song, we can type in anything for the title. We can type in anything for the artist section. And now it's going to come up with any song that has my best song as the recording title. You could probably tell that that is going to take way too long. So rather than doing that, we can type in an artist name. So I'm going to type in Club Yokai instead for the artist name. And now it's going to let and refresh for a second. Now we can scroll down and sort by artist name. We're going to sort it by the alphabetized version. And now we're going to go and hopefully search. But you can tell there is 217 pages of entries. So rather than doing all of that, we are going to type in an ISRC code and try to get a little bit closer. We're going to delete this title and just try to refresh it one more time just to see if we can get that down. This way is a little bit faster if you have the ISRCs available because you can just go to DistroKid and type that information in and search it and you're good to go and your songs will appear immediately. If it doesn't come up, then that means that the song hasn't been registered in the appropriate places, therefore you can't get paid for it. I'm just going to do like a fake one. So I'm just going to do my best song. We're going to type that in one more time. We're not actually going to submit this claim, so I'm just doing this as a temp. So we're going to select the song there and we're going to go to organized claims. At this point, you could then adjust lineups. So lineups are basically saying what percentage you own. It just makes it easier on you. So for example, lineup 1 could be 20%, this right here, and you can edit this section here. You can adjust the lineups and you can adjust what percentage you own. And we're going to do claim. We're not going to click that because this is going to screw over this person that wrote that song. We're going to exit right here. That's all you got to do. The process is a lot easier and a lot faster. So just keeping that in mind if you do want to go down the speedier route. We're going to go click on this section right again and click on the claim as a rights owner and click on right here. This is what's going to be common for a lot of producers. For example, we're just going to go through the same route. I'll just do Club Yokai, for example, as the artist name and just wait for some entries to apply. So cool. There are 3 here that are actually produced by Club Yokai. So sick. So we're going to select all 3. We're going to go to claim. And then right here, we're going to click on the percentage we own. For example, if it's me and I'm pretty sure I produced and mixed all of these are going to be 100% claimed by me. I'm going to put in all this. This is the exact same thing as before where it's inception, when am I claiming the songs from and, when am I going to stop making money from the song? So if you're an independent artist, you're going to be clicking both of these because you own your songs 100% and you're never going to give them up unless you sign some other deal. Next, you're going to be clicking review claims and then submit claims. This is basically just saying that I didn't lie. You're going to click that and press submit. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's a lot faster as a rights owner, but that only works because the songs have been registered in the first place. It's important to note that if your songs aren't registered, that you're not going to see any of the money. So register them first and then make sure you're submitting your claim. Letter of direction, you can check here if I want to submit one. For example, this is when I would send it to a actual original artist to make sure that I'm getting paid. So you can see here, SoundExchange accepts letters of direction from directly registered featured artists who wish to divert a portion of their payment to a third party who was a creative participant on a specific recording. Typically, SoundExchange will only honor an LOD, which directs a percentage to a producer, mixer, or engineer. For example, if you have an engineer that's like, hey, I work on this fee plus a point or two on the master side, you would give them their 1 or 2 points or 1 or 2 percentage points, and this is how you would send it in with a letter of direction. The other option too is if you're a producer and you're saying like, hey, I own 20% of the songs we work on, they would also need to send in a letter of direction. Same thing goes for, if you were a songwriter or if you were other featured musician on that track and you want some sort of percentage of the distribution, then this is also where you would be entered in. Letters of direction only work on a less than 100% scale. So you can't just submit a letter of direction and say like, hey, I'm the manager, I own 100% of this. That doesn't work. You have to be giving the original artist some sort of percentage. Keep that in mind. 90% of the time, if you're with an artist or if you are the artist, you should only be submitting your stuff as an artist and not claiming as a rights owner. If you do the opposite, you're going to run into issues when you are claiming, just because they're not going to let you claim 100%. So just making sure you make that difference is key. As a producer, I've had to go through the struggle of sending letters of direction before with artists that I work with because they, one, won't have their stuff registered on SoundExchange, and two, usually I have to do all the kind of hand holding to make sure that they actually do their songs and register them. Once people hear that they're not making a ton of money from SoundExchange, they generally don't do it. It's your money in the end of the day, so you want to make sure that you're trying to cap and collect all of it as you possibly can. All you gotta do is download the artist letter of direction forms down here, and they do ask for a little bit of information, but once you do that, you can upload it and send it in and you're good to go. That's pretty much it. Like very, very simple and very, very easy to do. It requires that original artist to have an account with SoundExchange, and sometimes that is not the case. So make sure they have an account, make sure they've done some preliminary registrations. If you want to save time, like I mentioned before, I do have a music catalog like template you can check out. It's all through Excel. You can download it and upload it to Google Sheets just to make it easier for you, but it has all this stuff mapped out. So rather than having to go through every song one by one, you can just do one entry and you're good to go, and you can copy and paste a form and you can bulk upload. I can make a separate video if anyone's interested about the bulk uploading form, but that was how to register a song with SoundExchange in 2024. The system has pretty much stayed exactly the same. So as long as you're registering your music, you're good to go. The money does take a while to hit your account for SoundExchange, but it's worth it. Register your music. It's your money at the end of the day, so make sure you can capitalize it. But thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions about SoundExchange, please write a comment below, and have a good one. Peace out.